It is 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Western European Time, 10 p.m. Central European Time, 11 p.m. Eastern European Time, midnight further Eastern European Time. I am a Swede Speaks, and we are live on YouTube. And well, I think I'll wait for a minute or two to build an audience. We'll see what's. There are a few people showing up here. Well, thank you all for being here. I do this live stream every Saturday at this time, and I try to do midweek live streams on Tuesdays or Thursdays. The midweek live streams does not happen every week, but my Saturday live stream is pretty much set in stone. So if you are new to this live stream, remember that I do this every Saturday. There has been a lot of things going on lately, and I will soon address some of these things, and we can discuss these things and other things. But before I do that, let me just say a few words first. What I do depend on you. Without you, I would not be able to do this. So like this live stream, share the live stream on social media, send it to friends and family, spread the word, do all of that good stuff. And if you want to support my work, send a super chat. Just click the little dollar sign under your name in the chat, and you can send whichever amount you'd like and write a message. I will read out all super chats loud in the live stream, but please, no anti-Semitism, no real racism, no cursing, keep it clean. I don't want this channel to get flagged. And if anyone wonders, anti-Islam is not racism. You can also support my work through PayPal, through Patreon, or by buying some of my merchandise, and there are links for all of that in the box below this live stream. More ways to support my work are listed on my website, and there's a link to that site in the box below too. It's at https://swedespeaks.com, and please visit that too. I post links to all my videos and my online articles there. So again, thank you all for being here. I appreciate your presence, and God bless everyone in the chat. And it looks like we have some people in here now. 10 people, that's wonderful. So before I go on, let me just have a quick look here. Kilmore Rekajevic says, hi, Swedish election, I want to hear. Best wishes from here. Yes, we will talk about the Swedish election too, among other things. So welcome to all the people in here now. And well, thank you for being here. That's great. But the first thing I want to comment on is how black conservatives in the United States suddenly are getting momentum. For decades, it has been assumed that if you are black, you have to be a Democrat. That's strange, since the Democrats were the party of the slave owners, and the Democrats fought against civil rights. However, Lyndon B. Johnson, a Democratic president, launched the Great Society, and social workers went out in black neighborhoods and told black women that they would receive more money than their husbands made if they got rid of their husbands, the so-called no man in the house rule. The effects of these policies were terrible, of course. Many, probably most of the problems of the black community in America today are because of fatherlessness. Before Lyndon Johnson's Great Society, black youth were employed to a slightly higher degree than white youth, so the welfare state, launched by Democrats, did not serve black Americans well either. And this is why I'm happy to see a rising movement of black conservatives in the United States. There have been a few black conservatives for decades, people like Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams, and Larry Elder. But now there are new generations of black conservatives rising. People like Candace Owens, who started on YouTube as Red Pill Black. And now she works for Turning Point USA, spreading conservative ideas to American students, especially black students. Rapper Kanye West recently tweeted, quote, I love the way Candace Owens thinks, close quote. Of course, she's not the only one. There's also Diamond and Silk, who testified to Congress recently on being banned or shadow banned by Facebook. Here on YouTube, there are a bunch of black American conservatives too, including Anthony Bryan Logan, to whose show I call in every now and then. And what has happened is that there is now conservatism on the rise among black conservatives too, and I'm very happy about that. Chance the Rapper, another black American, recently tweeted that, quote, black people don't have to be Democrats, close quote. I believe that social media, including YouTube, is a big explanation for this rise of black conservatives. Suddenly, they were able to find each other online. It resembles how Scandinavian conservatives find each other online, on YouTube and on other platforms. It shows that black people and Scandinavians don't have to be leftist. So I hope that conservatism will become popular both among black Americans and among Scandinavians. Also, I don't care about skin color. That's not my point here. My point is that it has been an informal rule in the black community, as far as I understand it, that you had to be a Democrat. And that rule is now challenged. And that's what excites me. So now we have 15 people watching, and that's wonderful. So thank you all for being here. Uh, I hope you all have a wonderful afternoon or evening or morning, depending on where in the world you happen to be. And before I talk about other topics, I would like to ask, how did you find this live stream? Or if you're a returning guest, what makes you come back to this live stream? So now I'll shut up for a minute and see if I'm getting any response to that. Let's see. Joe Max says, greetings to Swede. And Joe Max, I just read that. Cassandra Morgan says, hello, Sweden. Well, hello to you. And Stephen Cray says, hi, Swede. Hi, all. And Roxanne says, good evening to Sweden. Yes, good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning to everyone. Last week I had people in here from New Zealand, I think. So we had people who had afternoon, and we had people who had evening, and we had people who had morning. So it was great. And Otto Diali says, I hope Kim will agree to denuclearization. I hope it's not just talks and promises and something substantial will take place. I hope that too. Sandy Thomas says, return visit, found you through ABL. Yeah, that's wonderful. I think I have to thank ABL, Anthony Brian Logan, for a lot of my viewers actually. So that's great. Maybe I'll call in tonight too. We'll see. If it works time-wise, I'll call him. I've been a little off today, so I almost thought I wouldn't be able to do this live stream because I think I had a slight fever earlier today. I'm a little better now. I tried to cure it with coffee right now, so at least I woke up a little. Yo, Max says ABL sent me too. Oh, okay, that's wonderful. And yeah, by the way, I got my Trump mug. I should use my own mug, but I guess I need to order my own mug first. Not a Dimmy mug. I have one, but I made another one which is probably better. Anyway, so I would like to talk about the Korean War. It is finally over, or almost at least. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and South Korean President Moon Jae-in have now agreed to end the Korean War this year. Do you think this would have happened if the United States President Donald Trump had not been tough with North Korea? I don't think so. You know, back in 2016, I was one of very few people who openly supported the Trump presidency, one of very few Scandinavians who did that. Other Scandinavians told me that Trump is mad, that if he would win the election, World War III would break out, but of course, they said he couldn't win, and I was crazy to think otherwise. Well, and then he won. And World War III did not break out. He was tough on North Korea, and this brought North Korea to the negotiation table. This is great. It's amazing. So thank God for President Trump. Let's hope and pray for peace, liberty, and prosperity on the Korean Peninsula now. So I hope you're all having a good time, all the 14 of you. And remember that you can support my work through Super Chat, PayPal, Patreon, or by buying my merchandise. And there are links in the box under this live stream. I appreciate all of you, the new people who found your way here, and the people returning to these live streams and to my videos. Thank you all very much. Without you, I would not be able to do this. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe to this channel and get the likes up, please, and share this live stream. Do all of that good stuff. So let's see. Do any of you have any comments on Korea, by the way? Let's see. Stephen Cray says, I find your coverage informative and your calm manner reassuring in an uncertain world. Oh, thank you very much. That's great. I'm happy to hear that. Sandy Thomas says, "Take care. Have some chicken noodle soup." You know, that's funny. My fiancée told me the same thing. She said I should make a chicken noodle soup. So actually, I'm out of chicken, but I think I'll be able to hang on here for a while tonight at least, and then I'll try to. Well, I don't feel that bad right now, but I've been sleeping for most of the day actually. But hopefully I'll be all good for Monday because I have a video planned for Monday. Usually I don't upload videos on Mondays. Usually I write on Mondays, but I have a video planned for Monday. And before I talk about well, the other things I'm planning on talking about, I could mention that one of the things I am writing on, apart from writing articles for one Swedish website and one Norwegian website, I'm also writing articles for my upcoming book. So hopefully that one will be done before the Swedish election in September. I hope so. I might have to, I might need to have it peer reviewed before that too. So we'll see, but I hope so. And I would like to talk a little about the United Kingdom. You see, I'm saving Sweden for last, but right now I would like to talk about the UK. Some of you may remember Charlie Gard and how British healthcare killed him by refusing to let his parents take him to the United States for treatment last year. Sadly, that was not an exceptional case. Now, there has been another case like that one. This recent case was that of Alfie Evans. Evans was declared an Italian citizen, and Italy wanted to help cure him from whichever disease he was suffering from. The British NHS, the National Health Service, were unable to find out what he suffered from, but they found out that they didn't want to keep him alive anymore and shut off the life support for him. He was 23 months old. Alfie's dad was desperately trying to keep his son alive by mouth to mouth, but they refused to let anyone take him out of the hospital. I mean, the NHS, the hospital, not his parents. And he could not be brought to Italy for care. They killed him. The NHS killed Alfie Evans, just like they did with Charlie Gard. 5 days after they turned off the life support, Alfie Evans died. Do you want proof that socialism is evil? Here is your evidence. Socialized healthcare in the UK killed this defenseless small child. This is evil, pure and simple. One reason why the NHS was able to do this is that the British had been disarmed. And that's why I tell Americans and other armed people to keep your guns. Make sure that government does not disarm you. And you know, President Trump is going to visit the UK in July. I hope he says something about this to the British government. So now we have 15 people watching. I'm very happy about that. And I appreciate your presence a lot. I'm very happy to come here on a Saturday to hang out with me and each other. So if you have ideas about things to be discussed today or in videos or in a future live stream, you can tell me that too. And I'll have a look here. Sandy Thomas says President Trump deserves credit on North Korea. No one has ever stood up to Kim until he did. Exactly. That's why that's my whole point. Because North Korea has acted like a bully, and people cave in, but Trump didn't. And people thought Trump was going to start World War III when he was talking when he called him Rocket Man. But well, I understood it was a negotiation, of course. Well, and I think most of you probably did too. But a lot of people, they weren't thinking rational, they were emoting. Sandy Thomas also says, I don't understand why they would not allow parents to leave hospital with their baby to pursue other treatment. Yeah, you know, I don't understand that either. I really don't. Stephen Cray says, Alfie's treatment was a blight on the UK. You know, I actually have to look up blight. I haven't heard that word before, but I'll look it up. See if I see what it means. Oh, right. Absolutely. I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely, Stephen Cray. You're right about that. So there's also another thing I would like to talk about. And that's how the political debate in Sweden is changing. Both the Social Democrats and the moderate coalition party are trying to sound tough now. Recently, the Social Democrats said that newly arrived migrants will have to participate in Swedish language classes, or they will not receive any benefits. The moderates have talked about the need for order in the migration policies. Social Democrats have talked about the need for Swedish values. Funny, until recently, Social Democrats would not even agree that Swedish values exist, or they would claim that Swedish values are social democratic ideology. They probably still think that. Of course, the Social Democrats, which happens to be the largest party in the Swedish government, will not introduce these tougher policies before the election, since they are in government with the Green Party, and the Green Party lacks any sense of reality. The current Swedish government also depends on the Left Party, which is the old Communist Party, but they have not called themselves communists since soon after the fall of the Berlin Wall. Well, you wonder why. Anyway, so about the moderates then. On their side, we have the Center Party, who are not in favor of stricter rules, but rather of open border policies. Moderate coalition party leader actually said that he wants to negotiate with the Social Democrats, but he does not want to talk to the Sweden Democrats, not even if they happen to agree on something. No other party in the Swedish parliament wants to talk to the Sweden Democrats. And the way the polls look right now, the sitting government, with their support in parliament from the Left Party, will not get a majority in parliament. The so-called alliance parties, the moderates, the Liberal Party, the Christian Democrats, and the Centre Party will not get a majority. None of these two alternatives get over 40% in the polls. The Sweden Democrats got 18% in a recent poll. So it will be interesting in September, and I predict that both Social Democrats and moderates will keep on talking the tough talk. But will they walk the walk after the election? And how will they do that without talking to the Sweden Democrats? The Sweden Democrats said recently that they would be willing to form a government with the Social Democrats if the Social Democrats cut their ties with the Green Party. So I'm guessing for a government consisting of the Social Democrats and the moderates, but they will need the support of the Sweden Democrats. The other parties will not support them if they introduce any of the tougher migration or integration policies that they have talked about recently. And I'm not in favor of integration. I am in favor of assimilation. But in any case, it's either that or crazy parties like the Green Party and the Centre Party, who together might get 15% of the votes, will be able to control the next government too in exchange for support in parliament. So I'm actually hoping for a government consisting of the Social Democrats and the moderates, supported by the Sweden Democrats. However, I wouldn't vote for the moderates, although I was a member for many years, and I sure wouldn't vote for the Social Democrats. If I still was a Swedish citizen, I would probably vote for the Sweden Democrats, and I tell people in Sweden to vote for them. I think that the Sweden Democrats are too left wing, but still, they are the only ones who for a long time have seen the problems with Sweden's migration policies, with Islam, with political correctness, and they were the only ones who opposed the proposed changes of the Swedish constitution all the time. The moderates did change their position, and thank God for that. Anyway, we will see what happens in Sweden on September 9th on election day, and especially what kind of government that will be formed after that day. Does anyone remember when Belgium did not have a government for a year, by the way? That was fun. Let's see. Johan Gavel says, hi. Uh, will the Christian Democrats stay in the Swedish government? I think maybe you mean in parliament, because they're not in government, but they are in parliament. Maybe, maybe not. Some of these small parties look like they might be, they might not make parliament. I think that's true for the Christian Democrats. It could be true for the Green Party. I really hope the Green Party falls out of parliament. That could be interesting. So we'll see what happens. Johan Gavus also says, I'm planning to move to Norway. You live there, right? Where? Well, I live in Oslo since 2006. I may not live here for very much longer though, but for some more time I will be here. Cassandra Morgo says, I'm so sad about Alfie, and it's one of the reasons that I do not want universal healthcare in the USA. Exactly. I agree. Uh, Kilmore I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Kilmore Ikavids says, like potato blight in Ireland. Yeah, right, that one. The one that got half the island moving to the States. No, because if talking about the Alfie case, I don't think that would have happened in the US. And people talk about universal healthcare and stuff like that. Well, in the US, I think Alfie would have been treated. And if his parents couldn't pay for the treatment, let's say they couldn't, someone else would have stepped in, or they would have gotten a payment plan with the hospital. Something would have been worked out, at least from what I'm hearing from my American friends and, well, I almost said family, but, well, kind of family. And, you know, what is it that Ben Shapiro says about healthcare? You can have you can either have universality, you can have quality, or you can have taxpayer. No, I'm not sure, but you can't combine all these things. One of them will have to go. Stephen Cray says, I'm off to London on May 6th to show my support for freedom of speech. 300-mile round trip, but worth it. Oh, that's great. I wish I could go, but I don't really have a travel budget right now. Hopefully, I will have one again soon, but right now I can't really go anywhere far. Maybe I could go to Sweden, but that's about it right now. But it would be great to go to London that day, but I don't think I will, sadly. My thoughts, my thought says I'm voting for the Sweden Democrats, but I think that the most important reason to actually vote is to remove the MP. I think you mean the Green Party, Miljöpartiet, the Green Party from power. Green Party basically control the Social Democrats. That's right. And if we're going to keep like a left-wing alternative in Sweden, the Social Democrats, the Green Party, the Left Party, and a so-called right-wing alternative, the Alliance, with the moderates, the Liberal Party, the Christian Democrats, and the Centre Party. You will always have these crazy smaller parties that control the government, who will say either you do what we want, or we remove our support. And that's why I actually think it would be better if the Social Democrats and the moderates would work together, and if they would at least talk to the Sweden Democrats. They don't necessarily have to agree on everything, but if they could at least talk to them and work something out. And these small extremist parties, because really that's what they are, would be without influence, and that would be great. I mean, I don't believe in utopia, so I don't think that there will never be a perfect government. Not in Sweden, not in Norway, not even in the United States. Nowhere. You will never have a perfect government. But if at least you could get a saner government, I would be thrilled. I would be happy about that. Johan Gabel says, many in California and New York are moving to red states. Is that good or bad? Will they turn red states blue? Some of them probably will. It depends on why they're moving. If they're only moving because they notice that things aren't as good where they are and it's better in a red state, and if they're moving to a red state without realizing why the red state is better, then they will turn the red state blue. But if they are moving because they have realized what makes the red state better, well, in that case, it's a good thing. And well, for any Europeans here who don't know this already, I don't know. You probably do, but if you don't, in the United States, red means Republican, while blue means Democrat. But in Europe, it's the other way around. Red means socialist, and blue means conservative or libertarian or something like that. So that's a little confusing until you, well, have sorted it all out. I remember in the 90s when I was watching American TV, living in Sweden, and I remember when they were talking about liberals, and I didn't understand when these liberals showed up and they were leftist. And because in Sweden, a liberal basically meant someone who wanted a free market. And of course, today, well, I was sort of a liberal back then in that sense of the word. However, today, you could say I'm a libertarian conservative, or in one way, maybe a liberal conservative, but not liberal in the way the word is used in the United States. I guess you could say classical liberal conservative then, but I mean, there's so many labels to throw around. I just say I'm a Burkean conservative, and that's that. But anyway, the point is, words are used differently in different countries sometimes, and that confused me in my teens in the 90s when you had liberals in American shows, and they sounded like our social democrats. Cassandra Morgo says, I'm in Georgia, USA, and the hummingbirds are amazing here as well. Oh yeah, I think. Oh right, Juan Dos. I'm not sure about the pronunciation, but he says, I want you to visit San Diego. It's sunny and 75. You should see the hummingbirds. Yeah, hummingbirds are nice, and 75 Fahrenheit sounds nice. We almost have spring in Oslo, Norway now. Almost. I'm not wearing a coat anymore when I go outside, which is nice. But I still check temperature before I leave the apartment because I want to make sure what to wear when I get out. Joe Max says blue is libertard. Yeah, exactly. In America. I'm not sure how they use these words in Canada. That would be interesting. Or in Australia. And I have been thinking about what my next book should be about. I have written all the chapters for this month, so hopefully I'll be able to send out some tiers in time, or well, at least I'll send them out hopefully before next month. And I'm trying to analyze why Sweden functions the way it does, why Swedes reason the way they do. And I think a lot of the explanation for this is rooted in a long history of conformism. Alicia Bell says, popping in for a few minutes. What color is liberal in Finland? If you mean liberal, like in left liberal, liberal in the American sense of the word, I guess I would say red or reddish. If it's classical liberal, I think it's blue. Because, well, as far as I know, I think all Western European countries sort of have the same thing going on here. I'm actually not sure about Central Europe. I don't know, but in Western Europe, which of course includes Finland, because Western Europe basically means the countries who are not the countries who ended up on the right side of the Iron Curtain. Finland was actually a questionable case there, but they were able to keep their freedom to a very high price. So yeah, I think left liberal is red and classical liberal is blue. Alicia Bell says slow mode on, hate it. Okay, I'll think about that. Joe Max says, how about a book on your travels? Yeah, maybe. I'll think about that too. That's actually a good idea. I'll think about that. So I might not be on as long today as I tend to be. Usually I'm on for roughly 80 minutes. We'll see about that this evening because, well, I've been a little ill and we'll see. Juan Dos says the hummingbirds represent the warrior spirit. They visit when I play your videos. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, you could wonder why that happens. Interesting. Johan Gavel says, How is Norway different than Sweden? I would say Norway is less conformist than Sweden. There is still some conformism, but not as much. Um, you could say that if you scratch the surface of a Swede, you will find an industrial worker. While if you scratch under the surface of a Norwegian, you will find a farmer. The Norwegians are more independent thinkers, I think. Uh, they still have crazy amounts of socialism and conformism and stuff like that. Don't get me started on the Norwegian children's care, Barnevernet, but not as bad as Sweden. Alicia Bell says slow mode means we can't post on here. It deletes our post. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, I'll avoid the slow mode from now on. Juan Dos says keep up the good fight. Well, yeah, I will. I don't really have a choice, you know. Not much I can. I sort of have to, because you know once you gotten yourself into this mess, into this fight, or being red pilled, whatever you call it, you can't really retract on that because, well, it's like the Matrix, to use a popular term. Once you plug yourself off the Matrix, you can't plug yourself on again. Okay, I'll try something here now and see what happens. So I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, I think it probably worked. I think I turned off slow mode, so I think it should work. Johan Gavel says, "Can you speak Norwegian?" Well, I know the words, but my pronunciation will sound Swedish. So I can speak Norwegian good enough to make a Swede think it's Norwegian, but a Norwegian will think it's Swedish. Alicia Bell says, Johan Gavels, that name indicates you might have some experience in Scandinavia. I think Johan Gavels is Swedish. Yeah, as he says. Actually, when I saw your name the first time, Johan Gavels, I thought maybe you were Swedish speaking from Finland with that last name, because it sort of looked Finland Swedish, Finlandssvenskt to me, but probably not. I don't know. That was just a guess I made. Juan Dos says, get the industrial working in the right direction. Industrialize change for better. Yeah, actually, you know, I read an article recently talking about the mindset of Swedes, written by a Swedish historian who lives in Florida, Anders Edvardsson. I mean, he published it online, so it's not a secret he wrote this. And he discussed the Swedish mentality, and he said sort of the same things I say. He said that Swedes are conformist since the 1500s, and he said that this Swedish conformism worked really well in an industrialized society where you just had to follow orders, and this was one of the things that actually helped make Sweden one of the richest countries in the Western world. But when we are moving away from an industrial society into a post-industrial society or a service society, something that probably happened more in Sweden than what I've been seeing lately in at least parts of the United States, it doesn't work at all, because what you need in that society isn't just someone who is able to follow orders. You need someone who can think for themselves and who can innovate. And on that subject, it's actually really horrible that homeschooling is banned in Sweden, because Sweden needs independent thinkers. And to end this rant on independent thinkers in Sweden and all of this stuff, Sweden also have had a tendency of driving its independent thinkers out of the country, because a lot of these people left the country because they didn't like it in Sweden. And, well, I can't blame them for that. I mean, I know that's the way it is, sadly, and it's not good for Sweden, really not. Laurie P says, hello to all in the chat. Hello to Swede. Hope everything is doing well today. Well, hello to you too. Well, I'm kind of doing well. although my health hasn't been good today, so I don't know for how long I will be on. But I'm seeing that we're getting a few more coming into the chat, so I'll stay for a while and see what's going on. Alicia Bell says you can buy swag right now, Cassandra. Right, Swede. If swag is a word for merchandise, absolutely. Just click the link in the box under this live stream or this video and shop ahead. I would love that, absolutely. And Johan Gavel says it's crazy here in Sweden. Yeah, from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, even though I haven't lived in Sweden since 2006, I'm in contact with Sweden almost every day, and I talk to people in Sweden almost every day. And of course, I follow the news, both the mainstream media and the alternative news sites. And I try to sort of put this puzzle together because every Friday I upload This Week in Sweden. So I try to put the pieces together to have an opinion on what's going on. Johan Gave says Bernie Sanders would be considered mainstream here. Yeah, that's terrible. And I agree. Alicia Bell says, okay, I gotta go. But you guys have fun. Bye. Oh, okay. Thank you for dropping by, and bye to you too. Lori P says, I'm overly tired today. I almost missed this chat. I fell asleep. LOL. Yeah, okay. Good that you woke up. Yeah, I mean physically right now. Yeah, on the comment on Bernie Sanders, actually, I think he would be mainstream in Sweden, which is crazy, but yeah, I think that's the case. And I would say, you asked me about Norway. I think Norway might actually have even more left-wing policies when it comes to financial policies, economical policies, stuff like that. But when it comes to cultural ideas or cultural policies, I would say that Norway is more conservative than Sweden. Of course, the Danes think that Norwegians are way too leftist when it comes to this too. But that's because the Danes are even more conservative in cultural issues. At the same time, as the Danes, Denmark and Sweden are competing over which one will have the highest taxes. So that's crazy. But that's kind of Scandinavia for you. My thought says I can't guarantee the numbers, but something like 80,000 Swedish women has joined me #MeToo. But only 200 Danes. Danes are more used to speak up when needed. But that sounds about right. I mean, I haven't seen the numbers either, but it sounds accurate to me. I mean, I'm totally willing to buy that until I look into it. Stephen Cray says, "Don't overdo things, Swede. You need to look after yourself. We understand." Well, okay. Let's make a deal then. I'll finish my coffee, and if you have any comments or questions or anything, you'll have a few minutes to post it in here, and I'll finish my coffee, and then we'll round up. And I'm very happy that you showed up to this evening or this afternoon or this morning, depending on where in the world you are, to hang out. So just go ahead. Assyrian King says, "Hello, Swede, my dear friend." Oh, hello to you, too, Assyrian King. I'm happy to see you here. Actually, King, I'm not really well today, so I will round up soon. But as I said right before you started writing, I will finish my coffee and then I will round this up. So if you got any comments, go ahead, and I'll look at the comments and comment on some of them, and then I will round this up. But I'm happy also to see that there's actually a community of people who return to this chat every now and then and who talk not only to me but also to each other. I'm happy to see that I'm able to, well, help out with, I guess, forming an informal movement or whatever we want to call it. Guando says Sweden will become a playground for recreational soldiers and lots of money and private security. I think there will be a lot of private security at least. I'm not really sure what you mean with recreational soldiers. Syrian King says, "Did you get my post regarding the 6th of May?" Actually, I haven't checked my email today. It's horrible because I had a fever, so I've been asleep for most of the day. So I will get back to you on that after I have read. I assume you sent me an email. Sandy Thomas says it's 3 p.m. here in Arkansas. Oh, so you're from Arkansas, the Clinton state. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say that. But I always had a feeling that even if Bill's a Democrat, he wasn't as crazy as his wife. Although he did a lot of bad stuff. Don't get me wrong on that. But I think he was more of a working class guy, something like that. There's actually 30 people watching. That's actually pretty good. Um, Better than usual even. So I'm happy about that. One doses recreational soldiers for people who fight for fun. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how the legality of that would work in Sweden actually, because you need a gun license or something like that. I know that hunters in Sweden actually are allowed to have guns, but there are a lot of rules about that. A Syrian King says, "You got to see my video with the Muslim guy in Hyde Park saying I'm a liar and what he get in return." Is that the video you sent me with Mr. Jones, or are we talking about another video? So what says, "Greetings to Sweden, 11 p.m. in Germany. Just here to leave a like." Oh, thank you for that. Oh, so you live in Germany? Okay. Uh, I haven't been in Germany since was 5 years ago or something. There's actually a ferry going from Oslo to Kiel, and I've been thinking if I should take it one day, but I haven't gotten around to do that. And it's been on sale for a while, but I think it's getting closer to the summer, so prices will the prices will go up again. Amira Smith says, "In African countries there is not a tradition of men being faithful fathers and husbands who stay in the home." Well, I think it depends on which country we are talking about and whether or not we are talking about Christians or, well, non-Christians. It would be interesting to see the situation in Botswana, which is a country that at least have 70% Christians, and they are actually doing pretty well. They went from a third world country to a middle income country in one generation, but they don't have good neighbors. They border South Africa, and Zimbabwe is in the neighborhood. They have a lot of bad nations in their neighborhood, so I hope they're guarding their border really well. Um, I do know a few African Christians, and my impression is that they actually follow the Bible, so they're probably fine. But if we're talking about Muslim countries or people who are animists, it's probably something else. But I think that some of the sub-Saharan countries, the ones with larger Christian populations, I think they will become wealthier than the Middle East pretty soon, actually. But if we're talking in relationship to, for instance, the black community in the US, I don't think there really is a relationship, a correlation here, because the black family in the US was intact until Great Society. I mean, of course, slavery is one thing, and they would separate families and stuff like that. But you had pretty stable families until you get Great Society, which was a horrible thing, by the way. And I'm not saying that the welfare state only hurt black people; it hurt white people too. And it didn't. That didn't only happen in the U.S. It happened in Scandinavia too. I've seen a lot of people in Scandinavia who live well really miserable lives, but they are supported. They live by benefits and they have broken families, and it happens sort of everywhere with these policies. Sandy Thomas says, "Lol, I'm a native Texan and moved to Arkansas just a few years ago. Not a Clinton fan, but there are still some Clinton lovers around here. They either hate him or love him. Does anybody like Hillary? I don't know. I assume she's got her fans. Well, they say she got more votes than Trump. I'm not sure that's actually true, but so they say. But I don't know if anyone likes her. But there's got to be someone." Guando says Great Society, Sangers, etc. equals eugenists. Oh, you mean Margaret Sanger, I suppose. Yeah, I agree. And there's also a very interesting thing. Uh, how Planned Parenthood was started by Margaret Sanger, who really hated everyone who wasn't white. And Planned Parenthood, or what you call it, uh, loved by the left. I don't get it. David Norton says, "Evening, Swede." Well, good evening to you too. I won't be around very long tonight, I'm afraid, Mr. Norton, because I'm not really feeling well, but I'll be around for a little more while I finish my coffee. So what says I like her to be jailed? Well, if you're talking about Hillary Clinton, absolutely. There's a trail of dead people after the Clintons that's just horrible. And the Norwegian government have been have been sending taxpayer money to the Clinton Foundation, and not only when we had a left-wing government in Norway, but the so-called right-wing government, they have been giving money to the Clinton Foundation too. That's really crazy. But that's what's been going on. And I don't know about Sweden, but I assume they probably did, but I don't know. Cassandra Morgo says the welfare state was the worst thing to happen to the whole of the U.S. population. Love our President Trump. Uh, I agree, and it happened to Western Europe too. And the effects, well, the effects are horrible. And I mean, when you say things like that in Scandinavia, people think that you want people to starve, people to die in the streets and stuff like that. Of course, I don't want that. Nobody wants, or I mean, almost nobody wants that. Of course not. But the point is, the welfare state creates a dependency culture, and it's also a really efficient way of controlling people. For leftist parties, they will be able to control people because people will vote for them because they don't want to lose their benefits. So it's really a really evil cycle. Let's see. Vladimir Ramirez says, "Hey, what's up?" Well, I've been having a fever, so that's what's up. And some other things, and I'm finishing my coffee. Let's see. Sandy Thomas says many women voted for Hillary only because they wanted the first female president. Well, I guess that's possible. At the same time, I think there were many women who voted for Trump too. So I think people emoting, yeah. Cassandra Morgan says Planned Parenthood has nothing to do with planning a family. An outright lie right in their name. Exactly. Exactly. And well, before I leave, uh, on Monday I plan to make a video on how the Swedish parties or how the Social Democrats and the moderates are starting to talk tough, uh, but how they still don't want to talk to the Sweden Democrats. I plan to make a video on that specific topic on Monday. A Syrian king says Swedish coffee is no good. You need a warm brandy or hot honey lemon and cinnamon. Well, okay. I don't have any brandy around, I'm afraid. But this is kind of it. Coffee is finished. Uh, so I'm going to wrap this up now. Thank you all for hanging out here this Saturday. Thank you for your support. I hope I see you again soon. And until next time, have a nice day and God bless.